Hi, I'm Martina. Welcome to Magnetic Clarity. I'm a kinesiologist. I use tarot to explore downloads that will help us cultivate the life we want.
Hi guys, so we have 3 piles. I have already done some essential oil cards there, so it will be a blind pick. And today we're going to look at back to basics. What do you need to do from the roots up? Sometimes we just need to keep it simple, right? So there's going to be 3 piles, obviously, and let's get your cards. Okay, pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3. I'll let you have a closer look. Okay, pile number 1, so your timestamps will be down below. Pile number 2. Which pile calls you the most? Maybe there's more than one pile, but just trust your instinct. I'm going to add the essential oils now, and I'll see you in the reading. Hi, pile 1. So let's have a look at your card. Have you lost your direction a little bit lately? I feel like you do know where you want to be heading, but I feel like you might have just overcomplicated it a little bit. I feel like you had your intuition and instinct online, and then somewhere along the line, perhaps you got a little bit carried away with it, and somehow you've kind of lost your momentum a little bit, and you feel like I feel like it just needs to be, keep it simple. It's like you've split your energy in two. It's like you're almost working against yourself. But it could be a sliding door moment. I feel like potentially it's not that you're on the wrong path necessarily, but it's how complicated does it need to be right now. And I feel like eventually you will, no matter which step you're going to be taking right now, you would still eventually end up at the right spot. It's just how complicated do you want it to be, and are you in free fall, or are you trying to surrender? I feel like you're caught between those two gears, right? That's kind of where you're working against yourself. It's like you could be going down a wormhole or a rabbit hole, literally, but there might be a part of you that's kind of asking yourself to surrender to it a little bit and not to force it, maybe. I feel like with your essential oil, expanding grace, it's like process, express, releasing repressed emotions or wounds. Sometimes when we're trying to progress, and we've come through some journeys, we forget that it could be simple. You know, the keep it simple strategy sometimes evades us when we're in this confusion state. And I think it's just because somewhere along the line we start to fall into old patterns, which, I mean, when we're thinking of our subconscious programming, like, we're kind of 90 to 95% in the dark. So we only ever rely on 5 or 10% of that conscious awareness. So maybe it's time to, when you need to go back to basics, it's like, remember that divine download you had that started you on this trail, but just see if there's been points along the way where you might have been being dragged along the way, instead of just, going through the natural time shifts that you want to be going down or going up into. It's like you're either heading towards your ascension, in that sense that it's like empowered goals and that you will already be levitating towards it, or where is it that you either need to lock into some sort of gravity right now and just get back to basics, or are you plummeting somewhere down that rabbit hole, like I kind of said? just monitoring a little bit about what your integrity is with your intentions right now. Is it inspired action that you're currently taking? But let's get some more cards. So what is the... What? Too many. Cheetah. Okay. Yeah, look, this is fire energy, right? It's almost like it's the fastest animal, right? Land animal, or so I think, or it's fast at least anyway. But are you going too fast in the wrong direction? I feel like this is looking a bit beyond the past. It's like maybe you need to turn around and look at really the direction you're heading, because you might be going too fast down the wrong path right now. Even though, you know, ultimately you will kind of do a U-turn and get back onto the right path. But right now, this is, you obviously need to hear this message. I feel like there's been a clue around you and that you might not have seen it. There's a turn that perhaps you should have taken, or not should have taken, but there's a turn that potentially was missed, a signpost. I feel like if you look at the spiral sort of circular energy and you're in such a fast speed that you've kind of missed your turn off, because ultimately as you want to surrender and have this expanding grace vibe, like you just want to float into your goals. I know that sounds counterintuitive for us when we're trying to bring action into our life and results, but I feel like there's something in your immediate past that you're a bit too hyper-focused on the results that you might have missed your turn off. I feel like it's still in your vicinity, so you can actually pause and reassess. And I feel like that's why you're at this reading today, that it's still within your reach to remember that, hang on a minute, there might have been a door you could have turned down, or an exit point, or there's another door opening for you that you probably haven't seen, and it's just in your peripheral vision, like it's there to be reestablished again. What is the energy that pile number one should kind of adopt? I'm going to take the top one because I don't really want three. Yeah, tiger energy. Isn't that interesting how it's that cat energy, right? Big cat energy. So I guess this is kind of reconfirming, especially with an additional cat element and also a fire element. It's that be intentional. You're on the right ultimate path. Like whatever your ideas have been good ideas. That's why you've been so motivated to follow them. But just remember which pattern you're kind of pushing that towards, because I feel like it's a bit of hustle energy and you actually just have to be a little bit more divinely strategic. So even though you're wanting to surrender and find that next signpost that you haven't quite seen in your direct line of vision, it's that this tiger energy is kind of like indicating to you that there's a big move, or there's a big portal that is calling your name, and it's kind of directing you to what you, I feel like you kind of know what this is, but you're just putting it on the back burner because you just think that that's not, or it's too good to be true, or that's too easy a move, or that just seems too simple. But I feel like the tiger knows when to strike. It conserves its energy, and it almost allows their prey to come to them a little bit, or they don't see it coming, right? So I feel like there's something really within your immediate vicinity that you kind of are overlooking at the moment. And whatever your mind is flipping through now, as you're hearing me say this, you're probably on the right track. But you're second guessing it because your energy's split. But you'll feel in probably your stomach that you feel like you need to consider it, even though it might be wrapped in some sort of doubt. But let's see what Tarot has to say, because It might give us extra guidance. Star energy. Six of Pentacles. The Death card. Son of Pentacles, which is Knight of Pentacles. You've got Four of Wands, Seven of Wands, Five of Pentacles, and bottom of the deck, Five of Cups. See what the bottom of this deck is? Swan energy. Yeah, of course. Look at how that's mirroring your card. It's like this expanding grace, which is totally what swan energy is. But just look at your tarot for a second. You're being guided. That's why you've acted so quickly, because you know that within your bones, that's what you need to be actioning. You're on that ultimate path, like I said before. So the path has been lit up for you. But I feel like this is the energy that's like, don't doubt that. Like, trust the process. Trust the journey is going to be lit up for you. It's going to be illuminated. You're trusting your third eye energy center. Like, you have that vision for it, and it's hopeful, and it's destined. And when a star is born, for example, then that must mean something needs to end. And it could be, what I'm feeling is this energy of lack or doubt or past disappointments that's driving this hustle energy. There's some past patterns that, you know, you probably got quite far with. I mean, it has created some sort of abundance in the past, but that it's time to go slow. It's time to remember what this star energy is really guiding you to, and to recognize the portal in which you need to go through. And it's echoed here with the tiger. I feel like your antenna is working. That's why you're getting these messages. But you just need to realign a little bit so that you're more fully connected to the actual downloads you're getting. I mean, you're almost in alignment. You just need to almost just reconnect a little bit, maybe to your crown chakra. Just really get back into this graceful energy, this swan energy, this loving, expanding grace, because you don't want to be acting from your wounds, right? You don't want to be operating from fight or flight, because that's essentially going to get you, you know, a bit frazzled and split, right? So it's protecting that vision. It's protecting this little, yeah, it's like when you have the eye on the prize, when you're remembering that you're here for this specific mission, it's always going to be provided. You're going to be supported by the universe with it, and all the fruits of your labor that you're looking for are always going to be provided to you in a much easier energy than you presume. You don't necessarily have to work to the bone to achieve it. So it's like saying goodbye to that lack energy. It's energy that's keeping you outside of that vision. And once you realize that, which I think you're already in the space to receive it, that's why you're at this reading, you're already on that precipice, that once you stand up and let go of all of those pathways that you think you need to go down to make this a success, is that when you just channel that one focus of what you keep getting reminded of, the symbology is in there. Even check for signs and synchronicities. Maybe even star particularly is your secret language right now from the universe. It's that it's going to stretch open that vision for yourself, and you're going to be able to see exactly what portal it is that you're supposed to be going down in. Because once you go through this doorway, or this whatever this path that you've kind of a little bit missed, that's where it's going to pierce you through this surrendering energy and guided energy and graceful energy, and it's going to be so much easier than you thought. You know, how often do we say, oh, just keep it simple, when we tend to overcomplicate things? But this is an energy that is everlasting, which makes me, tune into this oil again. It's that it's sustainable. When you're on the right track, you don't need to always reboot your life all the time and try and regroup your energy, because it's sustainable. You're not in this lack energy. You don't have to go into this depleted energy all the time and having to heal yourself. It's that your cup is always topped up. And when you're in this energy and missing the direct line to your mission or your goals, you can find yourself burnt out and worn out and having to always then recalibrate your energy. I mean, we're going to be doing that anyway for the end of our days. But I think when you start working with cleaner fuel, as I call it, you're less likely to rebound and plummet your energy into this fight or flight sort of energy where you're just repeating old mistakes, because it is through past disappointments that you are pushing off against to rebuild and regrow and expand your dream and your vision. You're already been doing that, so that's why you find yourself with this soul mission, and it's always in your mind and you're always thinking about it, turning it over in your head at night and trying to find the pathway. But just remember, there's always more than one pathway, and it's always the easiest one that we don't want to jump through because we feel like that can't be right. Is there any little advice for pile 1? What energy and what steps? What is it? Or what is this portal actually? Let's ask that. That's a better question. What is this portal or sign or path or detour back into destined pathway? What is it that pile 1 might have missed? Let's see if we can get an answer for you. What does it look like? Whoa. Okay, that's a lot of cards. But let's see if we can do a little snapshot. Oh, it's a lot. Wow, isn't that crazy? There's so many like repeating cards, which is interesting. It seems to me, just in this little message here, that the past disappointments that might be your driver right now, your thruster into perhaps a more exhausted pathway than the easy road, it's that you've already learnt this, and again, you probably just need reminding, that these past disappointments have led to some tower moments in your life. That's why they're stressful. It's because you don't want to repeat that pattern, so you're trying to circumvent it. But what you may have forgotten is that you've actually, and I see this through the energy of, well, there's fire energy here, but with all this orange energy, it's like you've had to work on your boundaries, your relationships. So maybe you are getting pierced or triggered by some of those relationships in the past, or maybe there's echoes of it still in your current environment, where the doubts that you are having might be echoed by maybe friends and family, where if you really do have a target and a mission, but there's just these little whispers around you that is like trying to inject doubt, and you might be listening to it more than you probably should, because ultimately, like I said, because you've already had this powerful download and you're charging towards it because it feels so right, or at least in the beginning of it, before there was a bit of distortion in your motivations, is that you had built your confidence. There was this ability to regroup for yourself because you no longer wanted to be in this energy. You had a bigger dream for yourself, and that probably was instigated or ignited by some sort of catastrophic event in our lives where things ended, and maybe you didn't see it coming, right? And so yeah, I guess this reading is kind of just like a little warning, because maybe sometimes we forget how stressed and in that hustle energy we used to be before we started working with energy. And I think you are on that track, because this winning at all costs just creates so much anxiety and doubt, especially in those dark moments, right? Especially at nighttime when you're having those sleepless nights, because you're churning these solutions around for you in your head and you're trying to get traction, so you're going almost too fast. It's just a warning to slow down, right? Because that energy, although it feels productive, it's actually, it doesn't have the thrust and the clean fuel you need to calibrate your dream and make it work like clockwork. It's like there's a design that is, like I said before, when you are focusing on the actual mission at hand, it's a sustainable energy. It makes sense. It's in flow. There's no needing to, it's all echoed here with swan energy, with the blues. And it's like you start going into this space and it just becomes so much more easier. So I feel like this message is just like, take a breather, because you don't want to wrap yourself up in knots and echoing some of that old behavior, and that it's going to take a new direction. And what is this new direction that you need to take? Well, I'm going to proclaim that with the two cats here, you just need to harness this energy of strike when it's right. It doesn't mean you have to slow down in the striking moment, but make sure it's a strategic divine instinct that you're chasing. It's that there's always an action required for us to manifest, right? But it's not like looking at every road in front of us trying to, as a process of elimination. There is just one balanced viewpoint, and it's going to lead you to all the things that you want. But it's just balancing these two energies of, keeping your eye on the prize and then strike when it's hot. And this is the wisdom that you're carrying now. And I feel like you are just recalibrating all of your energy centers, even just through this reading. You might not feel that right now. You're still trying to figure out what the next step is. But trust that your soul and your subconscious mind is piecing this puzzle together, and it's giving you the calmness. And wait and watch for a new download to happen. And just by almost claiming or accepting this reading as a resonance of the journey you've been on so far, that this kind of feels where I've been at. And maybe you don't know the right next step yet, but you understand where you don't want to go. So whether it's a pause before you press play again, maybe that's what it is, and wait for that next download. And like I said, you're in this vicinity, so this opportunity hasn't been lost. It's still there. And now I feel the energy of this cheater is in pause mode. It's less about traction. It's like I feel like you have circumvented it a little bit, just even by watching this reading. Okay, pile one. So let's try and get a final message for you, just to close out the reading. Oh, couple. I choose to be a super attractor and have unwavering faith in the universe. The universe is always conspiring to support me, guide me, and lead me compassionately towards the highest good. Totally. And I feel like there's a lot of stars again. And just a reminder, this is kind of what we've been talking about. It's that you're attracting your reality, right? It is graceful energy. It is surrendering. It's not necessarily hustling. And that play amongst the stars and, watch your dreams come true more than making your dreams come true. So it's definitely less action, and because there's no doubt you know how to hustle your way. You definitely know how to implement action. There's no doubt there. So there's no doubt in your abilities. There's no doubt in even your ideas. It's just that you've got enough already, and that sometimes we do need to pause to just go look left or right, because there might be an option that is available to us now. It could be a shortcut. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Okay, pile one, if this resonated with you, if you could just like the video, I would super appreciate that, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks a million.
Hi, pile two. So back to basics. Keeping it simple. What is it that you need to hear right now? I feel like it's been paired with, I feel like your eyes are closed, you're trying to almost connect maybe with your guides. Is there a sense that you're asking for advice and you're trying to figure out if they're listening even? You trust that process, you've never doubted it before. So it's not that you need convincing to try and connect or meditate, but I feel like your crown chakra is asking you maybe to receive a message, or you've been asking for a message. We have Mandarin, sweetness, can quieten, soothe, and instill gentle healing. Okay, so what is that meaning for you? Are you looking for a message? Are you, maybe you are having an illness or something? I'm not sure. Let's just see if we can get more messages. Okay, can we get a card for pile two? Ah! Okay, way too many. Let's go with the Lamb. It's the closest one to Lamb energy. Well, surprisingly, Lamb energy does feel like a healing card. It's like, and even maybe like with the ears facing down, I'm wondering if you're not trusting your guidance maybe. Or are you not understanding, you're not understanding what to do with that message? You're looking for support. I feel like, you know, I feel like you are the Lamb energy, right? So you're feeling a little bit, not naive, but, you know, you're just in a tender moment and you're looking for just a sign, just a little sign to say that you're on the right track, that, you know, there's a reason you're feeling what you're feeling, and maybe you just really need that message of why now? What is it that I need to figure out? Let's get another card for what you need to engage with. What is the energy that would be useful for you to engage with? What is that message? Ah, again, too many. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take this one. Gazelle. And bottom of the deck is black egg. Well, that's interesting. Doesn't the gazelle feel like mother energy? Wisdom, grace, sophistication. Grounded, in tune, big ears open to surroundings, and antennae connected to the divine, to the crown chakra. Are you trying to, oh, I'm getting it, okay. This young energy is about your gifts, and you're not sure how you're supposed to deliver them. I feel like with this truth, this black egg, is that you do have a specific, unique coding within you. You know it, you feel it, but you just don't understand it. You're asking for guidance. How do I use this tool? How am I supposed to mature it? How am I supposed to build from it? How am I supposed to expand on it? How am I supposed to tap into this wisdom? Because I just feel like almost green behind the ears, or wet behind the ears. And Mandarin's like a baby orange, isn't it? It's like, how do you evolve this gift? How do you crack this egg open? How do you... Because look at it, it's almost like egg form, baby form, mature form. It's like, this is new energy for you. It's almost like you didn't expect to have these gifts. It's like you kind of maybe even discovered them late. It's like, and now you're kind of like, okay, I don't understand any of this stuff. How am I supposed to, like you've been given a gift that's so left of field that now you're like, oh my God, I actually have to operate it now, but I have no choice because I've been given it. But how am I going to bring that into, like, what do I do with that? Well, I don't know, pile 2, let's find out. Let's see what it is that you are. And back to basics as a reading seems like sometimes like we may have overcomplicated something and we want to keep it simple. But I feel like with your reading, it's like you are at the basic form of this gift, and that you're actually learning how to grapple with it. What's the foundational program? Help, I need this. It's like SOS. Okay, pile 2. Let's get your tarot cards. Hanged Man, Daughter of Wands, 10 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, Daughter of Cups, Son of Pentacles, Death card, and bottom of the deck, which is weird. That was also in pile 1's reading. Actually, there's a few repeating cards here from pile 1. Whatever it is, pile 2, it's definitely you are, yeah. You're kind of floored by it. You really, literally haven't seen this coming. It's so foreign to you. It's completely changed your focus. And it's definitely floored you. It's like you feel like a bat out of hell now, because it's undeniable now. Because it's almost like a spiritual awakening. That's how I would kind of express it. Maybe not necessarily in your case, so take what resonates, but that if you have gone through some sort of spiritual awakening, it's like, oh, you can't unknow it. And it's so powerful and potent that you're left going, oh, what now? Like, how do I manage this? Like, this is so not being my reality. This is so far from who or what I know. But it's so clear. It's so pure. And you're actually not sure what to do with it. And what's interesting about it is all of this young energy. So you have Daughter of Cups, Daughter of Wands, even Son of Pentacles. It's like quite a slow process at the moment. But what's interesting about it is it's completely taking you in new directions. It's infusing new passions into your life. It's definitely transforming your life. Whereas the old reality just so no longer exists, and you're left now going, okay, what now? And I feel like this is this, it's almost like this is your future energy, this energy where you can be that sophisticated, nurturing, maternal kind of healer. And so you obviously have been touched with this gift, because I feel like this is your energy. Even though you're trying to figure out what it is that, and it's quite new, I feel like this energy is trying to express to you, this is the resonance you leave on the planet just by being you, and that you have this ability that when you fully harness it, that you're going to be receiving these downloads, and it's like you know exactly how to pour this energy into the 3D world. It's that you don't really understand how you do it. That's kind of what's confusing for you right now. Sometimes you don't need to know, but you just need to know that you have it, and don't doubt that. There's definitely a bigger mission at play here, a complicated clog in how that does get delivered to the rest of us. But it's that you right now are just trying to figure out how and what and why and where, and like, do you have the ability and the strength to do it? But I feel like you'll slowly learn your craft. You'll slowly remember where your journey is heading you to, and you're gonna, grow your horns at it, for lack of a better expression. You're going to be building that antennae. And I feel like this lamb, obviously, there's no headgear on the lamb yet, because if this is the destination of it, like, that's going to take some learning, that's going to take some growth, that's going to take learning a whole new way of being. But like, don't doubt this, because you've got a lot of support around you. This is like a divine gift and unique coding that you are going to birth into this whole brand new version of who you are, and you're going to see things completely different. And it's like you channel the right medicine for the people that you need to interact with in this lifetime, whoever your soul tribe is. It's almost like this spiritual omelet that you're able to crack and deliver into. Let's just see, how does pile 2 just get a handle on this? Like, what's their first message? What is their, hangman again. Isn't that crazy how there's repeating cards? It feels like to me that you do need to quieten your mind now. You do almost have to maybe even go into a hibernation phase. Like, you are kind of incubating this sort of egg that's going to be delivered or birthed into your new life now. And so it is like your mother hen. You're nurturing your egg, because you're not only nurturing your gifts, you're learning how to birth it into 3D reality. But I feel like if ever you have self-doubt, just remember that the universe is providing you the exact fruit in which you can use for your own nourishment, and to dispense it in a kind of like a balanced way. And I feel like you will be able to manifest not only this, it's like you not only are you able to pull this through the divine and and bring it through as a form of inspiration, but it's that this fuel that you provide the collective, these gifts actually help birth physical, tangible things for many people beyond yourself. And it's like, that's just a message for you to say, don't doubt yourself. And when you do, self-doubt is a pattern that's obviously not real, really. It's our subconscious mind keeping us safe. But when you remember that you have this divine connection, and that no matter how young your energy is in these gifts, that you're destined to mature them and get better and better at them, and that the way to really do that is to connect, meditate, however it is that you channel your messages. Go into that quiet space, find tools that help you nurture who you are. You're going to actually have to learn to almost quiet your mind from the noise outside, whether it's family or friends. And like there is going to be a healing, and actually I'm going to take the strength card as well. I feel like there is this healing that's going to happen, because now that your third eye has awakened, you're going to be bringing those messages through. You're going to calibrate them through yourself first by your own healing, which then builds this strength to bring whatever that wisdom is, by you being in your chamber of healing, or your chamber of wherever it is that you go to bring in your gifts. I would call it meditation for me, but that you're building a resilience of it, so that this wisdom not only just becomes an idea or an egg or a very green raw idea, you actually are able to wrap the divine intelligence around it and deliver it through a way in which births life into this 3D reality, almost birthing new life for all of us in a way that helps us along our way in our journey too. So pile number 2. I mean, I get it. This can be scary, especially when you have had like a life-changing experience. What I would suggest is, when you do tune in, you'll find that when you ask for the right teachers to come in front of you, when the student's ready, the teachers appear. Trust that. You might be in a phase where you'll actually need to seek out guidance from a mentor to help you implement, or at least learn your intuition, so that you can trust your own downloads. So let's get a final message for pile 2. What messages can help pile 2? Split the deck. Messages for pile 2. The more I attune my energy with appreciation, the more the universe will deliver. I feel like that's it. It's like when you do go into this quiet space, you are picking those divine fruits, right? Or those ideas, so that you can bring it into a reality. I love this energy, because I'm excited for you, even if you feel it's a bit daunting, and especially when you do have that spiritual awakening and your friends or family don't recognize you anymore. It can be a little bit disorientating, sorry. So but don't worry, I feel like you have invisible nets of safety and security that's guiding you, and you're just going to be fine-tuning your gift. Okay, so if this resonated with you, pile 2, I would appreciate if you would like the video and even comment and share your story. I'd be happy to hear it, and even offer some advice or help if I can. And I will see you next time.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks a million.
Hi, pile 3. So let's have a look at your card. So back to basics, or keeping it simple, was kind of the questions that I wanted to ask today. And through pile 1, it was very clear that they needed to literally go back to basics and keep it simple. And then pile 2 it was like the basic of a new idea, or the basics of a new tool that was getting birthed, and having to learn how to even just get a handle on the basics. So let's see what your reading has to say. You've got Yarrow, which is about relieving smoldering anger and festering hurt. Protection. So this looks like an artist. She's got a paintbrush, but she looks disheveled, right? She doesn't look empowered at all. Maybe she's lost her way. She has fingers pointing at her. She's looking like she's maybe allowing the outside world influence her abilities, her creative strategies, or is she allowing that judgment to beat herself up? And so let's have a look at what your cards say. So if you're at this reading and you're already attracted to the concept of getting back to basics or keeping it simple, and you do feel like you have a creative project at hand, but there's just so much interference and noise that you might be crippling either yourself, or maybe the work that you're delivering already you feel is being judged harshly. It's almost like sometimes, especially that psychic protection, can get into our own psyche, right? Where you kind of do allow the opinions of others to influence your own intuition. We're human after all, let's be honest. But let's see what the cards have to say. Pile 3. What? Straight away, Phoenix. Wow. Look at that. Phoenix rising. You know, it's crazy because I kind of was feeling this even before, you know, the card fell, that this, you know, when you're a creator or an artist, like often misunderstood is a common theme. I mean, how often do we know incredibly famous artists now that we really only got to appreciate after their death, which kind of sucks, right? But or their value becomes so increased by that, and they never got the recognition, right? So I feel like with Phoenix, it's like a Phoenix rising. You have like immense potential. I even feel like the depths of sometimes your darker days is the opposite, and it's the opposite intensity of your brightest days. And so it means that, for me, that your gifts are so strong, but that when you do feel like they're not landing, the pain is almost just as bad as the plummet or the rise in success. So it's kind of that opposing effect, right? Where it's like that catapult energy I've spoken about before. It's that sometimes to build your resilience to your absolute soul mission, you've had to go through a ton of lessons to be able to project it into the highest frequency possible. I'm not saying that that's the only way to get there, but it does seem to be the most common. And so whenever you do have those dark days, or you're doubting your ability or your delivery or whatever, trust that that feeling of intense doubt is the actual opposite pendulum of how big your gifts are and how wide that they will reach. And so sometimes when you're in this energy or this frequency, the back to basics or the keeping it simple is, you know, it's hard to hold on to such a powerful energy if you're not grounded. And so I would definitely say grounding work, protection work, stability work. You know, when you're in that creative flow, it can be intoxicating and addictive, but you almost have to step outside of that matrix as well to just replug and reground and re-earth into it, so that you trust your purpose as well. Because if you don't calibrate your own energy, it can spin out of control, and then when you become out of balance, this is when psychic attack can hit, right? Or we even just allow our family and friends to inject their thoughts into our energy bubble, which we don't want. So let's see what other energy that you might be medicine, might be helpful, or might be coming your way. Wolf energy. Yeah, I get that. I think you get that too. It's like lone wolf. sometimes you can't travel in the pack, right? Sometimes artists are introverts. Sometimes artists just need their own energy to calibrate what it is that they need to deliver, because they are on a mission. They've been compelled to do it. They've been divinely instructed. They are the beauty of the world. That's their magic, is to deliver sometimes subtle energies, but powerful energies, whether it's songs, stories, movies, books, art. You know, you're the liberators of this heavy 3D energy, you know, where it's all about money and power. The art world reminds us again of our humanness and our emotional centers. And I feel like with vulture energy at the bottom of it, you know, vulture energy is a purifier. You know, they pick all the rotten meat off the bones of carcasses, right? So if you put that into this, even just this like, this energy, it is almost like that pendulum swing, right? Where you're like rising from the ashes, you're rebirthing from something so powerful that the opposing energy has had to be like, you know, purifying all of that death, and so that the rebirth could be created. And that might be the echo that you bring to society as well. But it does mean having to go into your own creative space. And when you do have those shadow thoughts of what maybe the outside world is bringing your way, you just have to remember that not everyone's going to understand your gifts or your power, but your job only is to remain connected to them and write, read, paint, whatever it is your medium. Your only job is to follow those divine instructions. And let me tell you, you are smoldering, but in a good way. Interesting, smoldering from rising the phoenix. And even that festering, you know, it's like, these are your energies. You really are purifying that heady, you know, horrible energy, that, you know, rotten energy, and, you know, bringing it into something so much more powerful. But it might, remind you to go solo, unfortunately. And that even family and friends' opinions, you know, they mean well, and you can accept and receive the advice if you feel it's right for you, but you also have full permission to decline and know that you know best for your own journey and your own creative art. But let's see what Tarot has to say. Daughter of Wands, Six of Swords, Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, Judgment, Five of Pentacles, and bottom of the deck is Ten of Wands. I think you already understand this energy, or you've at least had a few inklings towards it, because you know that your work is your mission, your work is your art, your art is your work, or your art is your gift. So you have no choice. You're in the middle of it. You're working hard to build and create so that the rest of us receive it, right? And even with these feathers, and that's kind of coming in with the phoenix and the vulture, it's that you have to know your highs and your lows. You need to be aware of the protection you need, because your gifts are not only just your confidence, but your unique codes that you need to be able to operate from. If these were the gears of a car, or, you know, a sequence of coding that you needed in a computer for a program, like, you need to nurture those gifts. They can't go offline. And so you are building your confidence around that, and you're doing that not only by working hard at your work, but that you understand that you have to nurture the gifts in which they deliver, because you are birthing that, nesting that, protecting that, And what is happening with that is that you're co-creating. And it's like you are not only receiving the message from, the divine, let's say, you're also bringing in who you are on what that communication is, but that the third part in which you're delivering into some sort of world is not only a wake-up call for yourself. This is the energy you hold. It's like your calling is a calling for others. So you are creating that divine spark within others, or you're just reminding them of their own divine spark, their own creative potential. It's that you carry this message, right? You carry this message for others to pick up and start, playing with themselves. It's like you're only just one part of it, but that you're moving away from the noise so that you can just get back to work. It's like you trust your message. You go to calmer waters, you avoid all of this toxicity that's not serving you. You remember your higher vision, not just your higher vision for yourself, but that somehow you are an important piece of the collective, that your work will then nurture the rest of us, wake us up out of this lack mentality, or this depleted energy, or this lackluster for life. It's that you rebirth that message in us, and that you help clarify and clear away or purify any of that toxicity. And it's almost like there's a two choice. Yeah, look at these cards underneath it. Almost even temperance. Like, let's take that as well. You're the alchemizer. You're able to bring your emotions and alchemize it into something to birth life into all of this, like I've already previously said. But what's interesting about it is what happens with our own anxiety. If you allow this interference to clog up or clutter or cloud your divine purpose, that's when you feel really burdened, right? You've got 10 wands here, so that's like 10 twigs or branches, and if you leave that unattended, it's almost like it could create, it's almost like you're using your own mental burdens to almost set fire to your possibility. It's like you're almost gonna smother your own energy by festering away at it. So it's really careful to get back on your horse, so to speak. It's like purify whatever thoughts you need to purify right now. To remember that you do have that power, that you are protected divinely, but that maybe you need to bring in some protection protocols for yourself, for the 3D world, and that you're just alchemizing this powerhouse that you are and nurturing it for your you're just nurturing it for your highest good. And it's really interesting. I think it can be hard, right, when you are a creative pioneer, to ascertain whether you're on the right track, because that advice doesn't always land, right, from other people. They don't get it. And even though we are sometimes in doubt and we're looking for our external support systems to kind of recognize or validate that we're on the right path, they couldn't possibly know. They couldn't possibly know your true destiny. Only yourself and your higher self really understand that. And that's why you have to go into that lone wolf energy, so that you can, feather your nest, What kind of tools does pile 3 or steps or messages, or what is the next right step for them? How do they make all of this go back to basics? How do they go into lone wolf energy? How do they recalibrate the power of their gifts and to block the judgment from the outside world? Just get a couple more. I feel like this is just echoing what I was saying. It's that just look at your options around you, like which cups are full, which ones are getting spilt over, and who's doing the spilling. It's like you're able to set yourself free. You are ready to take on a whole new way of being, figuring out which is your, what's keeping you protected. Sometimes these can protect you, but sometimes they can imprison you. So I guess that is that balance between those energies, right? It's that, do you protect your dream, or are you isolating yourself too much? Like, everything's always in balance. So even though what lone wolf seems to be your medicine right now, you don't want to go into isolation, right? You don't want to imprison yourself. But then at the same time, to protect your boundaries and make sure that your gifts are met in terms of the power behind them, it's that you need some solid platform and some points of boundaries around that energy. So yeah, it is a bit of an echo, right? But to understand that the power that you have is, your gifts bring you so much joy that you see the full potential in them. And sometimes it's just recalibrating your own energy into a healing space so that it doesn't fester out of control. Yeah, pile 3. Maybe you just need to take back some of your self-care routines, bring in some tools that you've maybe used in the past to calibrate that energy so that you don't flip the switch into those two realms. Let's get a final message for pile 3, please. Pile 3. I accept that good things come easily. I am a super attractor. Let's get one more. I feel my way into faith one step at a time. I guess with the imagery of these cards, it's like creating that space for your vision that you are trying to channel, and making sure those boundaries are super clear, and that the noise, although everyone has their job and role to play, not only in your life, but beyond that, it's that you just need to protect those boundaries very clearly with your vision. And then when you are in this space of not sureness, it's just creating that protocol for yourself to know when you're in this critical phase versus your higher realm phase. And yeah, it's just bridging those two states of mind, and just having that. It's almost like this bridge here is like echoed in this card here as well. It's like, just hold on to one truth when you are having these doubts with these epic consequences of blocking your art. You don't want that to happen, So yeah, I hope that made sense. It did in my mind. So yeah, if you maybe echo back to me if it did resonate with you, I would love to hear it. And maybe like the video, and maybe see you next time. Thanks a million, pile 3.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks a million.